There is breaking news tonight in Egypt. State television is reporting that security forces have arrested the spiritual leader of the Muslim Brotherhood. That's him right there, the picture just out on state-run Nile TV. Now, this development comes amid a new round of deadly violence, and I want to warn you, the next video we're about to show you is graphic. State TV reports that 25 soldiers were ambushed and killed by armed militants this morning in the Sinai Peninsula. The Sinai is generally considered a lawless region. Now, since last Wednesday, violent clashes between Egypt's military and supporters of the ousted President Mohamed Morsi have killed around 900 people. Morsi has not been seen publicly since he was forcibly removed from office on July 3rd. Today, prosecutors extended his detention for 15 more days while they continued their investigation of him. And today, a criminal court in Cairo acquitted Egypt's former leader, Hosni Mubarak, in a corruption case and ordered his release. However, he's still in custody tonight. Meanwhile, there are growing calls for the Obama administration to cut off aid to Egypt. A lot of ground to cover. Nick Payton-Walsh joins us now from Cairo. So the arrest of the leader of the Muslim Brotherhood, what more do we know about it, Nick?
Well, state media are saying he was picked up in a residential apartment in Nasr City, not far from the Rafah al-Adawiyya mosque, where that large sit-in protest by the Brotherhood was disrupted 5 days ago, causing a significant number of dead. They've been showing pictures of him on state television, a little dishevelled in a lengthy white shirt, next to, in fact, a man guarding him with an AK-47. These images very much part of the government's narrative over the past few days that they are fighting terrorism, and that's obviously their word now for the Muslim Brotherhood. Now their key figurehead, Mohamed Badie, in their custody. He's been wanted for a number of charges, the whole scope of things the Brotherhood are accused of, well encompassing terrorism in their remit. But this, of course, will feed in to the fears that now the Brotherhood are going to be pushed underground. There's no scope for negotiation. That's been off the cards for a number of days, if not weeks. We've seen the violence of the past week, and now we have the majority of their leaders in state custody, and these images, which are frankly him on parade. The army, the interim administration, making it quite clear they feel they have the upper hand, Anderson.
The calls do seem to be growing for the U.S. to cut off military and economic aid, but that's now run into a snag involving a key Arab ally. What's the latest on that?
Well, it's remarkable, in fact. We keep hearing these calls and we keep hearing the US saying it's reviewing its aid, but the State Department quite clear today it's not made any change to its $250 million financial and economic assistance and $1.23 billion worth of military aid. So that is still under review. There's been no specific change. But each time the Washington makes hint at this, we hear from Arab backers of the military and the interim administration here, specifically Saudi Arabia, who quite explicitly said today, if the EU or the US cut any of their aid to Egypt, they'll make up the difference. And that, of course, is going to insulate General Abdel Fattah al-Sisi here from any future Western action. But, of course, part of the relationship between Washington and Cairo is about prestige. So the Egyptian army will be unwilling, I think, to jeopardize that if it possibly can.
And amidst all this turmoil, has there been a lot of reaction or any reaction to the idea that Hosni Mubarak could be a free man any day now?
Yeah, I mean, that came from his lawyer. It was his lawyer saying, as many attorneys would do for their client, that he thinks he can be out in the next few weeks because one set of corruption charges against him were dropped. There's still a retrial set for accusations that he fomented violence in 2011 and also other corruption charges on the books too. So while we saw a lot of noise in state media about the potential for him to be released, in reality, that's still a pretty far way off, and many see today's noise around this as perhaps a very useful distraction from the problems on the street and the fact the interim administration really has to get Egypt on its feet again, raising the ghost, if you like, of the Mubarak reign, perhaps a one way of making them seem potentially more viable. Anderson?